model to web application architecture, we will provide controller layer and view layer separately. It represents loosely coupled design. It is suggestible for the web applications. Then I given some architecture clearly. After that, I given some points with you. Model to web application architecture follows MVC design pattern internally. So it is also be called as what there MVC architecture. Some frameworks like Struts, JSF, and Spring Web MVC are designed on the top of the Model 2 architecture. So these web frameworks are called MVC based frameworks. Am I forgetting it or not? All right, sir. Then after that, I given some points with you. MVC architectures, rules and regulations. If you want to use MVC architecture in our web applications, a set of rules and regulations here we have to follow. What are the set of rules and regulations here we have to follow there? First one is what there? In MVC based web applications, we must use a serverless controller and a set of JSP pages as viewport. And we must use and we must not interchange that controller component and a view component. Why? Because both are having their own responsibilities in our web applications. In MVC based web applications, the controller component must receive all the requests from the clients and the view components must send response to the respective clients. The controller component must interact with the model component to set users data, not to get users data, and the viewport must interact with the model component to get the users data in order to render the responses. That means controller is responsible for setting data to the model. Viewport is responsible for getting data from the model. And viewport can communicate with the model part even to set data, but not original data, not by submitted by the user. The data may be the internal notifications, internal status values of any particular action that we are going to be submitted to what their model component. Leave this one. The controller and view components must not interact with the databases directly. They must interact with the database through the model components. In MVC based web applications, only one front controller must be provided. So it must be a singleton class. But we can provide any number of model components and view components as per the requirement. All right. In MVC based web applications, we will use multiple JSP pages as a viewport. But all the JSP pages must be Java codeless. All the JSP pages must be what there? Java codeless. Understand it clearly. All right, sir. Then after this, in MVC based web applications, we will use multiple JSP pages as viewport, but we must not provide page-to-page communication directly. There we must provide what there? Page controller page communication. That's it. These are all the content here what we are having clearly. Is that all of you are getting it or not? All right. After that, the question what we are having is what? To prepare web applications, we already have web technologies like servlets, JSPs, and so on. Next one is what their IDEs like Eclipse, IntelliJ IDEA, and so on. And the servers like Tomcat, WebLogic, and so on. Modeled architectures like Model 1 architecture and Model 2 architecture, and so on. Still, what is the requirement of the frameworks to prepare web applications? What is the requirement to use frameworks in our web applications? That is the question here. So there we have to understand the content clearly. All right, sir. Now, just for the sake of your knowledge, I want to give some diagrams to you. Now, try to understand these diagrams. But before that, you have to believe one point. In every enterprise application, 70% of the implementation is very common. Take any type of application, 70% of the coding is very common. Only 30% is a variable. Depending on requirement, we are going to use that. Maybe logos of the websites, maybe like labels, maybe the names, maybe max. These are different, or maybe the components may be different. But overall operations are very same. What operations are going on in every enterprise application? Actually, 4 operations. Every time I'm telling you that 4 operations in every enterprise application, in every module. What 4 operations here we are going to perform? The CRUD operations. What are these CRUD operations? You know, inserting data, retrieving data, updating data, and deleting data. Only these operations only here we are going to perform. On the basis of this also we can conclude that 70% of the implementation is very common from one application to another application. Okay, leave this one. Now, I want to prepare a simple example. Now try to understand this example, all of you know. For example, I want to prepare a simple example. Observe carefully the example here, what I am going to take here. For example, I want to take something else like what there, the student management system application here I want to take. A simple student management system application here I want to take. Now inside the student management system application, what we are having there, first of all, I want to take a add form. This is add form. This is like what their search form. And this is like what their delete form. Overall, 3 forms here we have taken. All right. Now, in general, in add form, what we are able to have there, if you understand it clearly, there we are able to have, say, for example, student ID. Next one is what there, student name. Student name. And the next one is what there, student address. Lastly, there is a button. That button is what there, add button. That's it. Now, some text fields here I want to create. Finally, here we are having the button is like what there, add. That's it. Now it is available like this. Now this I want to say like what there, add form dot html. We can understand it. Maybe HTML or JSP, that doesn't matter. Finally, here we are having this component. This is what we have there. Okay, fine. Next one is after this, after completion of this. Now here, similarly, I want to provide like what there, search form dot html. Search form dot html. In search form dot html, what we are having there, student ID is available. Now, I need to provide a text field for the student ID. There, I need to have a button. The name of this button is like what there, search. Next one is after that, student ID, a text field here we are having. Then after that, delete button is available. This is like what the delete. Now I want to prepare this as an MVC based application. So 3 forms here I have taken. After that, I need to take a front controller. This is like what their front controller. As simple as I want to prepare a separate module for each and every operation. Understand it clearly. Now this is like what I'm telling to you, front controller. At the same time, for the sake of this add operation, I'm going to take a separate module. For the sake of this search operation, I want to take a separate module. And for the sake of this delete operation, I want to take a separate module. Understand it clearly. Now inside these modules, I want to give names also for it. Now this is like what there, add action, for example. Simply it is an action class. Similarly, search action, then it has the implementation of search operation. Next one is what there, delete action. Right, sir. It has the delete operation clearly. Understand it now. Now, in add action, in search action, in delete action, what I am telling there, here we are able to have logic, application logic is existed. Application logic is available here, add logic is available. Here also with that application logic is existed here, and here also the application logic is existed. But remember, at each and every action, a set of services we are going to use. And each and every action, a set of services here we are going to use. What services here we are going to use there at each and every action? If you observe this, all of you observe carefully, a set of services here I'm going to give. What services are available here now? Say for example, authentication is one service. What's the service here? Authentication. Next one is data validations. Another service. What is that next one? Data validations. After completion of this, exception handling. Exception handling. This is what there? Another service. After this exception handling, internationalization. Internationalization. This is another service. So like this, multiple services are available. So at each and every module, these many services are going to be utilized. In a add action, these many services we required. In a search action, these many services we required. In a delete action also be, we required the same type of services. Is that all of you are getting it or not? This is my total enterprise application. A simple MVC based application. Okay, fine. For example, what is that flow of execution here? If you observe this clearly, the next one is what there. For example, if I provide data here, what data here I'm telling there? Student ID. I want to provide something else like what there? 111. Student ID is like what there? 111. Next one is what the student name, something else like what there? A. Then after this, student address, say for example, Hyderabad, we provided like this the data here. After that, when I click on this add button, as per the MVC rules and regulations, every request must come to what their front controller. Every request must come to what their front controller. Now inside this front controller, I have a logic like what there. If the request, that means if the request is for the sake of the add action, it is for the sake of the add action, for example, then immediately what is going to be happen? Automatically the request will be diverted to or bypassed to or forwarded to add action, where application logic will be executed. By performing this application logic, by executing this application logic, it will take the responsibility of dispatching response to the respective client. But whatever it may be, when we submit request from a particular form, automatically that request will come to what their front controller. That front controller will take that request. Front controller will forward that request to a particular action class. What is that action class with respect to the add form? Actually, add action is available. Front controller will forward that request to what their add action. All of you getting it or not? Fine, sir. That's okay, fine. But while performing this action, all these many services are going to be utilized. All these services are going to be utilized while performing these actions. That's okay, fine. This is completed. Similarly, now the remaining part, next one is like what there, what I'm telling to you, observe carefully. Similarly, for example, if I provide data in a search form.html, something else like what there, AS111, if you provide this data, automatically the data will come to this one, this text field. There we are going to click on what button here? No, search button. When we click on this search button, automatically request will come to what there? Front controller. When request is coming to front controller, what front controller will do there? Now it will recognize it. If it is for what there? Search action. If the request is coming for this search action, automatically this front controller will identify the search action module. It will forward request to what there? Search action. When it is sending that search action here, automatically this logic will be executed. While performing this logic, while executing this logic, all these services are going to be executed. Clear to all of you know? Next one is after that. Now try to recognize the next one here. For example, right, sir. For example, If I provide the data like what there, S111, I want to delete this data. I want to delete this data, S111. Right, sir. Now here, I want to provide like what there, S111. I want to delete this data. Here, this is like what there, S111. Then what next one is going to be happen there when we click on this delete button. Of course, this is like what there, delete form.html. Alright, automatically request will come to like what there, request will come to this front controller. Now observe carefully, if the request is coming for what there, if it is for delete action, if it is coming for delete action, if the request is coming for delete action, immediately that request will be forwarded to like what module here, no, delete action module, where the business logic is going to be executed. By the execution of this business logic, automatically all the services are going to be utilized. Right, sir. Overall, this is exactly the MVC based application here we can understand. Here itself, I'm telling to you, take any healthcare application. Take any healthcare application. What operations care we are going to do? When a patient admitted with the hospital, then immediately what module they have to execute? First of all, they have to add that patient details to the database or not. Okay. Then day to day, that patient tracking is required or not. Then every time we have to perform such operation about that patient or not. And every day we are going to perform update operation or not. Then when patient was discharged from the hospital, there what we have to do? They have to delete the respective patient details. Got it or not? Right. In a healthcare application, the same operations care we are doing. Same structure is going to be repeated or not? Same structure is going to be repeated in a patient. That means in a hospital management system. Leave this one. If we go for any like a bank application there, for example, there also be what operations are available here now? Tell me. What operations are available here now? Tell me here. If it is a bank application here, no. Say for example, account related information. Create account. What is the meaning of it? No. Insert that account details to the database. Next one is what their search account. Search operation here we have to perform. Update operation. Update account details here. Update operation. Delete account details here. No. Delete operation. Again, the same structure is going on or not? Yes, sir. Here, the point what we have to understand in this case, no, take any platform, any domain, that applications where the same structure is going to be happen, same flow of execution is going to be happen, same components here we are going to use, but only the names of the components are going to be changed. If it is a student management system, that's why we have used the forms like what there, add form.html and search form.html. Then after that, what next one here? Delete form.html. Like this here we are using all this content here now. Understand my point clearly? Okay, if it is like what there, if it is the employee management system, there what we are going to provide there, add employee, search employee, delete employee. And if it is like what there, then a hospital management system, add a doctor, delete a doctor, update a doctor, and search a doctor. Similarly, patient related information here. Everywhere that almost all similar structure is going to be happen or not? All right. So I'm not going to prepare another diagram here, but assume it internally. Even though if we take 10 applications, even though if we take 10 applications, in every application that structure must be what there? Same structure here we are using. Clear? Now listen, all of you listen carefully. Take 10 applications. Example, 10 applications I have taken. In all 10 applications, what is controller responsibility now? Tell me. In all 10 applications, what is the job of the controller now? Tell me. Front controller. In all 10 applications, taking requests from the forms, identifying to which module that request is coming, forwarding that request to the respective module. Am I right or not? Then the respective work, the remaining activities will be performed at the module respective content. So take 10 applications. In every application, the responsibility of the controller is what there? Same responsibility. Take requests from the forms, and identify to which module that request is available, forward that request to the respective module. Now this is the responsibility of what there? Front controller. Got it or not? Now tell me, the responsibility of the front controller is common in all 10 applications or varies in application to application? Common to all applications or not? It is not dependent on the application. It is a common functionality in every application. Understand my point? Means that front controller component is a common component in every application or not? Okay, right. That is point number one. Leave it. In this example, overall, in this example, now tell me how many forms here I've taken? 3 forms. Altogether, it is not like all 3 modules here, but treat like this 3 modules. 3 different activities, 3 modules here we prepared. In all 3 modules, what we have done there, at each and every module, some services we have used. Some services here we have used. The services are called as a generic services. The services are called as what they're generic services. Now tell me, all these generic services are common at each and every module or not? These generic services are very common at each and every module or not? So data validations, no changes from one module to another module. Same validations are going to be happen. Yes, sir, got it or not? So the services are also be common. Now tell me, in this simple example, what are variable? Now tell me, maybe forms and their labels are varied. Maybe business logic, application logic may be varied. Apart from that, all the remaining components are very same or not? Like this, if we prepare 10 applications, no, in all 10 applications, that front controller is common, all generic services are also be common. This front controller and generic services, if we take no, these are occupying nearly 70% of the actual application development. This front controller and all the generic services are occupying how much implementation part in the enterprise application now? 70% of the implementation is related to front controller and all the generic services. The remaining 30% of the implementation is what there? Preparing forms and a bit about what there? Application logics. Yes, sir, got or not? So if we take all the 10 applications, no, if you take all the 10 applications, no, in all 10 applications, 70% of the application implementation is a common or not? 70% of the components are very common. 70% of the application logic is very common or not? All right, exactly. Now I'm telling to you, I'm giving an assignment to all of you. Try to prepare 10 applications, 10 enterprise applications. Then what we have to do, in all 10 enterprise applications, in every application, even though front controller is common, we have to prepare that front controller separately or not? Even though generic services are very common at each and every module, but still we are providing the generic services explicitly or not? That means, even though 70% of the implementation is common at each and every application, but still developer is preparing that 70% of the common implementation explicitly. At each and every application, even though it is a common, but still developer is preparing that 70% of the implementation explicitly. Now it is a waste of time or not? Is unnecessary work for the developer or not? It will increase development time or not? When development time is increased, automatically cost of the product will be increased or not? Development cost will be increased or not? So many drawbacks are available in this particular approach. Exactly, in this particular situation, if you want to get advantages, if you want to reduce development time, and if you want to reduce development cost, then we need to go for some alternative. What is that alternative here? What exactly the alternative here we are expecting in this particular case? First of all, are you understanding the context what I'm telling you? Know what is the main point here I'm telling there? If you take all the enterprise applications, 70% of the implementation is common, which includes what? Front controllers maybe, bean components maybe, generic services like what there? Authentication, data validations, exception handling, internationalization, and so on. These are common, which provides nearly 70% of the implementation in our enterprise application. So 70% of the implementation is very common at each and every application. Even though 70% of the common implementation is available, but developers are preparing that 70%, even though it is common, but still developers are preparing that 70% explicitly or not. It's a time waste process for the developer. It will increase application development time. It will increase the application development cost. Like this, so many drawbacks are available. So to overcome these problems, we need to go for an alternative. What exactly that alternative we have to provide? What exactly the alternative here we are having there? Understand it clearly. Listen, that alternative here I'm telling to you, observe carefully. Assume you are the developers. You have the requirement of preparing 10 applications. You know already 70% of the implementation is very common. He felt like what there, Arey yaar, why I'm preparing the 70% of the common implementation at each and every application? It's a time waste process. So I want to go for some easiness. What is the easiness here now? Where the easiness here, what I'm telling there? For example, think about me. Myself is a third party vendor. Myself is not ever related to you. Myself is a third party vendor. Then what I'm going to take the responsibility? I observed it, which implementation is common at each and every application. Simple. I will take that common implementation. I'll prepare a product which includes the common 70% of the implementation. The common 70% of the enterprise application implementation, I want to provide in the form of a separate product. Then I will release that product to outside. Then I'm giving information to all the developers. Anyway, 70% of the implementation is common, which includes front controllers and all the generic services. So what I have done here, I prepared a product with the common implementations like front controllers and all the generic services. With by including all of them, I prepared a common one small product I prepared. If you want to prepare your enterprise application, don't provide everything in our own way. Just get support from my product and provide your required 30% variable implementation. No need to provide the common implementation. Why? Because your required common implementation already provided in the form of this particular product. Use this product for your application and you can provide only 30% of the implementation. If any product is available like this, then what is the role of the developer? Now tell me, how much is the participation for developer? How much implementation the developer must provide? The developer must provide only 30% of the implementation or not? Developer must provide only 30% of the implementation. Remaining 70% of the implementation must be taken from the third party product. Got my point or not? In this overall scenario, the third party product which provides the common implementations nearly 70% for all the applications. The third party product is nothing but a framework. The third party product is what there? A framework. That framework is providing easiness for you to prepare your enterprise applications. How it is providing easiness for you to prepare your enterprise applications? No, what commonalities are available at each and every application? That commonalities are provided by what their frameworks. So simple analysis, what I am telling you, without frameworks, if you prepare any enterprise application, it may take nearly 5 years of time to complete your project. With the framework, if you prepare the same project now, it may be completed within 2 years of time. Now tell me, which one is better, with the frameworks or without frameworks? Without framework, it will take nearly 5 years of time. With the frameworks, it will take what there? Only 2 years of time. So what is the meaning of it? You know, overall development time will be reduced or not? When a development time is reduced, automatically development cost will be reduced or not? Answer my point here now. So because of this reason only, frameworks are getting very good demand in outside. Because of this particular reason only, frameworks are having very good demand. Right, so that is the exact requirement of the frameworks we need to use for our applications. Even though we have servers, even though we have IDS, even though we have technologies, web technologies, even though we have like what there, some other modeled architectures, even though we have MVC architecture, but still there is a requirement to go for frameworks. What exactly the requirement to go for frameworks there? Only the requirement is what there? To provide all the common implementations and frequently used implementations for our enterprise applications as a predefined. So some components are ready-made components inside the framework that we can share. Automatically, other people may use that commonalities as part of their application. They will simplify their development parts. That's it. Now, this is exactly the requirement of like what are their frameworks. Yes, sir. All of you are getting it or not? No response now. Fine. All right, sir. I need to represent this total content here. Right. Now, I want to give some elaborated information. Try to understand it clearly. In all the enterprise applications, we will use the common tools, common components, and we will use, or maybe in all the enterprise applications, some components like front controllers, bean components, some services, bean components, comma, some services, some generic services like authentication, comma, authorization, authorization. Then after this, like what there, internationalization, comma, logging. Then after this, data validations, and so on 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 are common in all the enterprise applications, and they will occupy, or maybe they will take the 70% of the 70% of the enterprise application, 70% of the enterprise applications implementation. Good. So this is the total point here, what I'm telling to you, understand it clearly. In all the enterprise applications, some components like front controllers, bean components, some generic services like authentication, authorization, internationalization, logging, data validations, all right, and so on, are common in all the enterprise applications, and they will take the 70% of the enterprise application implementation. Right. Observe carefully. Even though the above 70% of the common implementation, even though the above 70% of the common implementation, even though if we provide, even though the above 70% of the implementation is common, 70% of the implementation is common, still if we provide that 70% of the, still if we provide 70% of the implementation in the enterprise applications explicitly, it may increase the overall, it may increase the overall application development time. It will reduce, sorry, it will increase the overall application development cost, and it will reduce the application's productivity. What's the meaning of this productivity? Less time, more implementation is nothing but what their productivity. Automatically it will reduce what their that application's productivity. Right. Now, to overcome the above problems, some third party vendors, not Sun Microsystems, not our companies, some third party vendors. Who are the third parties in general? No? Who are the first party? Actually, developer is a first party. Who are the second party? Actually, the technology provider. Who are the technology provider? Java provider, Sun Microsystems. Then who are the third party? Except this first party and second party. If we use libraries from some third person, then that is called as what their third party. Now understand it. Now to overcome the above problems, some third party vendors have provided their own products, which provides the above 70% common implementation, 70% common implementation of the enterprise applications, 70% of the common implementation of the enterprise applications as a predefined implementations, that is as a ready-made components, as a predefined implementation. Observe carefully. Here, the third-party products, which provides the common implementation, which provides applications common implementations, called Here the third party products which provide the applications common implementations called frameworks. That's it. This is what exactly the requirement of what their frameworks. All of you get my point or not? Now understand this clearly. After this, after understanding this, what exactly the advantages of the frameworks? What advantages of frameworks here we are able to get? What frameworks are able to provide as an advantage for us? Right. Now I'm going to give clarity. Now try to understand it clearly. In the enterprise applications, frameworks will provide. In the enterprise applications, frameworks will provide the following advantages. What are the various advantages that frameworks are able to provide here? In the enterprise applications, the frameworks are able to provide the following advantages. Now, first one, now tell me, what is the first point here we are able to get there? All right, sir. Frameworks will provide, now tell me, frameworks will provide the common components like what their front controller, bean components, and so on and so on and so on, as a predefined elements. This is one thing. Second one is what there. Now tell me, frameworks will provide the generic services like what services can know internationalization, then after this internationalization, next one is what there, data validations, logging, and so on and so on and so on, as a predefined support, as a predefined services. All right, sir, these are provided. Next one is what? Now tell me, frameworks, listen carefully, all of you know, frameworks will provide a standard template to prepare the enterprise applications. In this location, we have to use controller. In this location, we have to use viewport. In this location, we have to use Java Bean component. In this particular location here, we have to provide some model component. That locations are fixed. The flow of execution between all the components is also be fixed. It is not variable. First request must come to the like what their front controller. Front controller must send that request to the action class. That action class must forward request to action form class. After that, controller must take the responsibility to forward request to a particular viewport, where viewport must render the response. Viewport must generate response to the respective client. So here the components are fixed and the flow of execution is also be fixed. That's why, what's the point I'm telling there? Frameworks will provide a standard template to the enterprise application. Not only that, frameworks will provide a standard flow of execution. Frameworks will provide a standard flow of execution to the applications. Frameworks will provide a standard flow of execution, fixed flow of execution. No need to search for different flow of execution here. Between the component, that flow of execution must be fixed. So frameworks will provide a standard flow of execution to the applications. Next one is, after that, frameworks will reduce the application development time. Frameworks will reduce the application development time. Now tell me, when it reduces the application development time, what next one can now tell me? Frameworks will reduce the applications development cost. Next one is what there? Frameworks encourages the parallel development. All right, sir. Modules wise, if you provide this content here, sorry. Right, sir. Frameworks supports, for example, framework supports parallel development. When parallel development is supported here, automatically development time is also be reduced. Understand my point clearly? This is another point here. Frameworks will reduce the application development time. Frameworks will reduce the application development cost. And the next one is what there? Frameworks will improve the productivity, applications productivity, applications what their productivity, that's it. So these are overall the advantages here what we are getting from what their frameworks. Now tell me, sir, what are the various advantages here we are getting from the frameworks here? First of all, tell me what exactly the requirement of the frameworks that we provided here. No, if we come for this point, first understand the context here what I have given. In all the enterprise applications, some components like front controller, bean component, some generic services like authentication, authorization, internationalization, logging, data validations, and so on are common in all the enterprise applications, and they will take nearly 70% of the actual implementation. Okay, fine. The problem we identified clearly. Even though the above 70% of the implementation is common, still if you provide that 70% of the implementation in the enterprise applications explicitly, it may increase the overall application development time, it will increase the overall application development cost, and it will reduce the application's productivity. All right, what is the solution here? To overcome all the above problems, some third-party vendors have provided their own products, which provides the above 70% of the common implementation for the common implementation of the enterprise applications as a predefined implementations. Here, the third-party products which provides the above, which provides the applications common implementation called frameworks. This is exactly the meaning of what the frameworks. The next one is what I have given there. In enterprise applications, frameworks will provide the following advantages. What are the advantages? Can you tell me? First one is what there. Frameworks will provide the common components like front controller, bean component, and so on as predefined. Frameworks will provide the generic services like what? Internationalization, data validations, logging, and so on as predefined. Frameworks will provide a standard template to prepare the enterprise applications. Frameworks will provide a standard flow of execution between the components inside the applications. Framework will reduce the application development time. Frameworks will reduce the application development cost. Framework supports parallel development. Frameworks will improve the application's productivity. These are all the differences. These are all the advantages of what their frameworks, what we are getting clearly. So all of you are getting at least basic idea what I'm trying to talk now, what I'm trying to give the information here now. Okay, fine. After this, after completion of this punch here, simple example, very simple example. For example, listen carefully. Just think a minute about one simple example I'm telling to you. Observe carefully. So we are taking classes at My Thiruvanam in this building, for example. I thought of it, the cost of the rooms in this particular building is too much expensive. So I thought of it, I want to change my location. I want to change my location. So what changes here I have to do? How I'm going to change my location there? Now tell me. Where I have to put the same classes actually. Of course, I'm not going to change the office there, but I want to change my classroom. Where I have to change the classroom here? No. It's not real information. Just example you have to understand. Already some people are having question mark faces now. Where we have to attend the classes there like this. No changes on the classroom there. But maybe the changes very soon maybe about the classroom there. I thought of it. I want to shift this classroom to the second floor maybe. The near to our office actually. Some connectivity is missing between me and office. That's why I want to go at second floor. Maybe not immediately. By the time your course is also be completing there, right? I think so. But for you, no changes are going to be happen. You have to strictly bind with what? Fifth floor, 505 classroom. No doubt for that. But example I'm telling you. It's too much expensive here. I want to change this classroom. Then I need to search for a location. I need to search for a venue. Here two options are available. What are the two options for me? Number one, listen carefully. If I identify a land space, then what I have to do? Just only empty space is available for me. Then what I have to do? I have to construct a building. Am I right or not? I have to construct a building. In that building, I have to prepare that entire environment, classroom environment. Then everything I have to do. Everything I have to do. Even fans and chairs and what next ones, screens and everything I have to provide. Then how much time it may take for me to make ready my entire classroom there? It may take maybe, for example, 3 months of time it may take there. Or maybe constructing building is not easy. It may take nearly 1.5 to 2 years of time. Constructing building and after that doing this entire arrangements, It may take nearly 2 years of time. Think about it, for example. 2 years of time, for example. Instead of this process here, for example, if I search for a building already which is constructed, that vacant room is available, maybe the 500 members capacity room is available, fans are already existed. Only the thing is what there, we have to provide the screens and we have to get what electricity and we have to start classes. That everything is ready-made, already available. Then my job is what there, now my work is what there, just coming to the class and fit the projectors and make ready my system and I can start to take the classes. Then which case is simple for me? Second case is simple. Why? Because everything is available with me. Everything is ready for me. So I can switch into the respective class and I can start my teaching. But if it is a first case, no, what happened there? What we have to do there? Everything we have to prepare or not? So how much time it might be taken there? No, almost 3 years of time. But in the second case, how much time it might be taken there? Matter of 10 days. Within 10 days, we are making ready our classroom. Then which one is a better solution for me? Which one is a good thing for me? The second case is good thing. Why? Because everything is ready-made. Everything is ready-made for me, so I can start the classes here. No, this is what exact the flexibility we are able to get if we have the frameworks. If everything is ready, then this is an advantage here I'm able to get. If frameworks are not available, right from scratch, we have to start everything. We have to prepare everything. That definitely we are able to have what there, the time total it will take might be 3 years of time to make it our classes now. But during these 3 years of time, how I can run my business there? How it is possible for me to run my business here during these 3 years of time here? Online classes, huh? Online classes, huh? Admission cancel. Huh? Right, sir. So understand the context here. So if required elements, common elements are ready-made, our work is simple. If the common elements are not ready-made, we have to prepare that common elements even though they're common, and we have to prepare our own implementation there. It may take a lot of time. So that's the impact of what their frameworks. Yes, sir, got it or not? Right, sir. That's okay, fine. Then, before going to understand the advantages of frameworks, I want to give definitions for the frameworks. I want to give some definitions for the frameworks. Now try to observe these definitions clearly. The first definition, very first definition, observe carefully. Framework is pre-fabricated software components that developers can reuse, share, and customize as per their, that means customize to simplify the enterprise application, development. All right, sir. Now to simplify the enterprise applications development, please try to understand the definition what I have given there. Framework is what there? Framework is pre-fabricated software components. What is the meaning of this pre-fabricated software components? Front controller, predefined component. Next one is what there, apart from this, no, some bean components, software component. Apart from this, generic services, some software components or services. All are tied each and every one or not? All are tied or not? That means front controller and bean components must be having some binding or not? Then a front controller and as well as like what there, some other components, some other generic services are having some kind of binding or not? Everybody understand my point clearly? So all are what they're pre-fabricated, interconnected. Pre-fabricated in the sense all the components are free components. They're having interconnection. They are interconnected software components that developers can reuse. So for example, data validation service is available. How many times we can use the data validation service? As per our requirement, we can use any number of times. Am I right or not? Any number of times here we are able to use it. The developers can reuse and developers can share, prepare only one time, but we can share to multiple programs there. The developers can customize. The default implementation is provided by framework. As per our requirement, we can modify that. We can change that implementation. We can customize it. Okay, for what purpose all these things are available there? Now tell me. To simplify the enterprise application development. All these things are available to only to simplify the enterprise application development. Because of this reason only we have to understand what their frameworks. This is a very first definition here we have to understand. Framework is a prefabricated software components that developers can reuse, share, and customize to simplify the enterprise application development. Right, sir. Now come for the second definition. All of you know. Framework is a semi-implemented application. Now tell me, framework is a semi-implemented application. It is a semi-implemented application which provides the 70% of the implementation as a predefined in order to simplify the application development. That's it. Now again the same point here I'm talking with you. Now try to understand it clearly. Framework is what there? Semi-implemented application. How can you say that semi-implemented application which provides the 70% of the implementation of the enterprise application already? So once the 70% of the implementation is already provided in our enterprise application, automatically we can call it as what there? Semi-implemented application. Framework is what sir? Semi-implemented application which provides the 70% of the implementation as the predefined implementation in order to simplify the application development. This is another point. Third definition. All of you are getting the definitions here. What I said to you know. All right, sir. The third definition here we have to understand. Everybody. Framework is the collection of tools and technologies. Frameworks is the collection of tools and technologies. All right. In other words, what I'm telling there, framework is an API. Okay, no problem. Frameworks is a collection of tools and technologies which are used to simplify the application development. See, even if you give 100 definitions for these frameworks, no, the final target of all these definitions is what? Simplify the application development. Getting some simplicity for the developers to prepare the applications. Having some free hand to develop the applications for the developers. Only these are the points here we have to understand. Is it? All of you getting it or not? What I'm telling you, all right? Then in the same way, here I can give that another point now. Framework is a collection of tools and technologies, collection of APIs, tools and technologies which are used to simplify the application development. Right, sir. Now tell me what are the various definitions that are given about these frameworks. Now tell me what are the various things. Framework is a prefabricated software components that developers can reuse, share, and customize to simplify the enterprise application development. Framework is a semi-implemented application which provides the 70% of the implementation as predefined in order to simplify the enterprise application development. Then what next one here? Framework is a collection of APIs, tools, and technologies which are used to simplify the application development. Collection of APIs at you, right? Inside the framework, JDBC API is available as an inbuilt one. Servlet API is available as an inbuilt one. EJB's implementation is available as an inbuilt one. Like this, for every technology, API is available internally. So they are nothing but what their collection of the APIs. They're all what their collection of APIs and tools and technologies, which simplifies the application development. Right. Then after that, in enterprise applications, frameworks will provide the following advantages. Number of advantages are given clearly. Sir, all of you are getting it or not? After that, after completion of this, listen carefully. There are two types of frameworks. What are the two types of frameworks here? The first one is web frameworks, and the second one is what their application frameworks. First one is what their web frameworks, and the second one is what their application frameworks. Is it? Arey yaar, why you are disturbing me? What's your problem? Okay, fine. So web frameworks, and I think you are asking about time over, no? Time is up, right? Let me complete this part. Fine, sir. Web frameworks, and the second one is what there? Application frameworks. Now, this is one of the important interview question in outside. Now, try to understand it clearly. So, what is the difference between web frameworks and application frameworks? Anyway, sir, no need to think too much about this classification here. Just only simple simple point I'm telling to you. Now, try to understand it clearly. What is the difference between web frameworks and application frameworks? Listen carefully. First point, very first one, only one point. Understand it clearly. Web frameworks are able to provide a very good environment to design and execute only web applications. Web frameworks are able to provide a very good environment to design and execute only what applications? No, web applications. Examples for these web frameworks is like what there? Struts. Struts is one of the example. JSF is another example. Then after that, Xwork2. Xwork2 is another example, and so on. Web frameworks are able to provide a very good environment to design and execute only web applications. Examples are what? Struts, JSF, Xwork2, and so on. These are like what their web frameworks. Similarly, application frameworks are able to provide a very good environment. Application frameworks are able to provide a very good environment to prepare all the types of applications. Like what are the various types of applications here? We can understand it now. Standalone applications. Next one is what there? Web applications. Next one is what there? Distributed applications. Next one is what there? Database related applications. And so on and so on and so on. Each and every part of the application here we can understand. Right, sir. Say for example, I'm telling you, try to understand it clearly. For example, say for example, in outside might be some shopping complexes are available. Best example I'm telling you, say for example, RS Brothers, if we take now, what we can identify there in RS Brothers? No? What we can identify there in RS Brothers? No? Max clothes, am I right or not? Only shirts and pants, or maybe some sarees or something else, clothes, right? Maximum class. RS Brothers is famous for only class. Am I right or not? Okay, fine, leave it. But my requirement is what there? I want to take clothes. After that, I want to take a pair of shoes. After that, I want to go for what there, a movie, for example. All different things. I have a plan. But I don't have much time here. But I need to do all at a time. I don't have much time here. One after I have to do, but immediately I want to complete it. So can I go for RS Brothers again still? Right, where we can go for only clothes shopping only I can do, but remaining things are not required, not possible here. Got it or not? Then which place is good place for me to go for all these things? No, yes sir. All right, what is that? Malls, shopping malls. Anything is anyone is the best? Anyone is the best example there? Yes sir. Asian Mall. Huh? Right, I think so. The best example, as per my knowledge, Hyderabad Central is the best example for it. Yes, sir. Am I right or not? In Hyderabad Central might be, then shopping related things we can take. At the same time, movie related things are available. Even hotels are also available there. Am I right or not? Just besides that, immediately in the same place now. See, the simple example I'm telling to you, the comparison here, why I'm telling there, web frameworks are for only web applications. That's it. They're not giving any other layers. Distributed application development, no, not possible. Database related applications, no, not possible. Standalone applications, no, not possible. Only web applications. But application frameworks are able to provide any type of application development, the support for any type of application development. Not only that, in an enterprise application, every corner of the application will be covered through what there? Through the application frameworks. Application frameworks are able to cover each and every corner of the enterprise application. Sir, got or not? Application framework will cover each and every corner of the enterprise application, but web frameworks will cover only web environment. only front-end development, only web part only. Understand my point here? Browser and servlet, that communication only we are able to get through what there, that web frameworks. All right, sir. Now examples for this application frameworks are what there. As per my knowledge, only one example I have seen up to now. That example is what there, Spring framework. That example is what there, Spring framework. That's it. Only Spring framework is having very good. That means capability to provide any type of application development and every layer of the enterprise application we are able to prepare. Got it or not? All of you are getting it or not? Okay. Right, so now this is about the story for what their web frameworks, and the next one is like what their application frameworks. Got it or not? Right, sir. Next, immediately after understanding these concepts here, but theoretical points, no, that means conceptually, I have the subject. That's why I want to talk about this point here. Some comparisons here I want to provide there. Some comparisons. What are the comparisons here I'm going to provide there? Here, after completion of this, what are the differences between Spring framework and Spring framework, comma, struts and JSF frameworks. Spring framework, struts and JSF frameworks. So what exactly the differences between these two? The comparison here we have to understand. Once if we complete the comparison, then we will start what there, that Spring framework separately. Why? Because at least we have some different frameworks now, but still the comparison is required. How Spring framework is very good framework when compared with the struts and JSF. What drawbacks are available with the struts and JSF? What advantages are available with the Spring framework? That all the points here we have to understand. Because of that reason only, we need to go for comparison over these concepts clearly. Yes, sir. All of you are okay or not? Okay. So the remaining part I will cover on tomorrow. Right, tomorrow we will see the remaining part here about this particular content. Okay. All right, sir. Just 1 minute. The good news for some of you and bad news some of you. Today I'm not going to take the JDBC class. No. Then actually I have some personal work there. Don't mind for it. Then tomorrow I'll continue that advanced Java class also. That issue already set right there. Whatever the issue we got in the classroom there, that is a problem with my system only. I checked at my home system, it was ready. Then here also if I create new project, it will be okay, no problem. But not like that. I have some personal work. I need to go for some hospital. That's the problem there. So then tomorrow I'll continue the content here. Don't worry for it. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. We'll meet you tomorrow. Yeah, thank you guys. Thanks a lot. And I think so, Max, the link will be changed on tomorrow, guys. Now try to check your mails after the classes. Maybe by even by today evening, you are able to get a mail with the new link details. No, then try to check your mails also before joining for tomorrow's class. No, I think so, Max. Today you are able to get a mail for the new link information. In the case if you are not getting new link, then try to use the same link. I think so, might be today our admin people will send new link details to you. Then try to check your mail, registered mail. Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot.